Okay, you're live.
All right. I apologize for getting the document to you all so late. Let me go over for you what my thinking was about the meeting today. I'm considering this a draft of final document to go before the commission for a vote and eventually to the Public Safety Committee of the council. But I think one of you informed me that part of our process is to give the chief 7 days to look at this document before it goes to the commission in order to have an opportunity to talk to me as chair, and I hope to also get the chairperson of the commission involved in whatever meeting or discussion that we're able to put together prior to it going to the commission, and that we can see it again at our meeting on September the 2nd. That'll essentially give us 2 weeks about before then we would go to the commission from that meeting on September the 2nd. And then I would leave it up to the chiefs of staff and the chairperson of the commission as to which agenda of the commission, whether it's the 10th or the 24th, that this document then would be placed on the commission for a vote. Um,
It would be more than likely the 25th.
be the 24th, I think. Yeah.
Well, the 25th, I think, is the Thursday.
Oh, the
So
25th.
I think
Okay.
it'll be the 24th. If it's not the 24th, then it'll be the first meeting in October. But yes, I will definitely keep you posted.
Perfect. Um, so that's the thinking, and we've been working over this report for a month or so more now, and um, this is where I see our discussions have taken us. Since I got this to you so late, I hope you would excuse me if I went through it and read it out loud. I know people learn in a lot of different ways, some with their eyes, some with their ears, and in various ways. It's just 4 pages. I think I can get through it fairly quickly. And then if there are any sections of it that need to be reread, this is for clarity of understanding, and then comment. And then we would move forward at that time with that additional information to finalize the document. Then I would send it back to you all, and I presume that one of the folks in the department would have the responsibility of getting it to the chief. I can get it to someone by tomorrow, and then I presume maybe Captain Perez would have the responsibility of getting it to the chief. Would that be accurate?
Absolutely. I'll make sure I'll relay the forward the report to him.
Chair
Okay.
Riles, I don't, have you sent this to members of the ad hoc? I haven't seen something. Did other members of the ad hoc receive something, document?
Maybe it didn't. I think I sent it to the commissioners. Maybe it didn't go to the full list of the ad hoc. Apologize for that too. But a lot of
Is
it
it,
is what you've heard before.
I'll find
okay.
it, Commissioner, and send it to everyone now for you.
Thank you so
Thank
much. I
you.
am
Mhm.
more visual than
Oh, you're more
oral.
visual. Okay. All right. I don't know if Chief of Staff Montgomery would be able to put it on the screen too while I read it, but that may be a little more complicated than need be.
No, let me see let me find it. for you. Let's see.
Okay.
Okay, give me a second. That's a lot of stuff coming back.
I made some small changes to what I have, even different from what I sent to the commissioners.
Search inquiry. Nope. Give me one sec. Let me see where I can find it, sir. Do you
No
have it in front
problem.
of you? If you have it in front of you, you can send it to me. Let me see. Let's see. This is for the militarized. I don't think you called it that though. Let's see.
Let's see. I have it on my own computer. It's not in the.
Okay, OPD militarized equipment. Nope, that's not it.
Mike, I can forward it to you right now if that would help.
Perfect. That'll be great. Thanks, Sam. And then I can get it to everyone and then put it on the screen. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you, Sam.
Yep.
I know.
Yeah, I just forwarded it to you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
See, Sam.
You're doing what we all should be doing, Mr. DeWitt.
That's right.
Yeah.
Come
I got a
on.
couple miles in today actually, so
Wow. Okay.
It still hasn't
I'm
come in my
impressed.
inbox yet. Give me a sec. Come on, inbox.
Sam, it looks like you're in gravity free. You're kind of floating in space right now.
yeah, I need to get another background. This is my company, the company I work for, our company background.
Okay, let's see. We've got, let me move this over here and go here and share. Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
great. Let me make it a little bigger for everyone. Edit.
Okay. Here it goes. I'll just start from the body of the
There we go.
document. The Oakland Police Commission received the 87-page report initially on April the 15th, 2025. The commission had extended the due date for reception of the report beyond the March 15th date designated in the Oakland Municipal Code by way of a verbal commitment from the chairperson of the commission to the chief of police. The Military Equipment Ad Hoc Committee of the commission held its last session on the report on, and I've got August, whatever date that is, on the 25th. It's probably going to be September. Present was, and then we can list all the folks who were present. And then the previous meeting of the ad hoc had included, and we can list folks who've been part of this process in prior meetings. The following remarks were presented to the commission and approved and corrected by the city council, corrected for the City Council Public Safety Committee's consideration. In compliance with state law AB 481, the police department conducted a community review of the annual 2024 military equipment report on July the 16th. The ad hoc committee's discussion largely hinged on continued use of the Bearcat armored vehicle, consideration of a replacement vehicle or vehicles, and the purchase of replacement rifles, including adding a number of new rifles beyond the current total. These issues were discussed in the context of state law AB 481 and the city municipal code. There was recognition of the requirements of transparency, the uses of given specific equipment, and the realization of the difficulty faced by the department due to lost data and lost transparency due to the changes in OPD's data collection systems. For example, the 2022 military equipment report had included a list of incidents in which military equipment had been used and the circumstances surrounding that use. This critical information had been redacted from the 2024 report and was added on the shared folder with the amended annual report. Also, the military equipment's connection to department policy for use was not connected in the 2024 report for the use of robots, LRADs, and mobile command centers. That was added to the 2024 report in hyperlink. And it may have been not in hyperlink, but added as a separate document. You can correct me on that. The chemical agents policy was added to the department's overall policy presentation. There were similar questions about specific munitions that the department addressed. With the Militarized Equipment Ad Hoc Committee activated, this letter is to respectfully request that the following information be reviewed by the City Council Public Safety Committee. The Armored Vehicle Training Bulletin 3 was rewritten by members of the Ad Hoc Committee from January to March 2021. Two of the members of that committee include Commissioner Farmer and another current member. The judge who oversees the negotiated settlement agreement ordered OPD to rewrite the policy after it was determined by the court's federal monitor that they used the Bearcat armored vehicle as a shooting platform to shoot and kill a citizen named Joshua Pollock. This incident resulted in OPD backsliding on multiple NSA tasks, two of which are related to use of force. Multiple police officers were either disciplined or fired. A seven-figure police misconduct lawsuit was awarded to the victim's family that was paid for with taxpayer dollars. This incident delayed OPD from completing its constitutional policing oversight requirements under the NSA. Now is an appropriate time to conduct a review of the policy to ensure it is being followed. Doing so will assist OPD with avoiding future misconduct-related incidents. The following list are areas of the policy needing to be reviewed. A bullet point one is copies of the 2024 calendar year operations plans and risk assessment overviews for pre-planned deployments and call-outs. Reference Training Bulletin 3, page 3. Bullet point 2, a description of the source or documentation of credible intelligence received that calls for the use of an armed vehicle for all 2024 deployments and callouts. Reference Training Bulletin 3, page 3. Bullet point 3, documentation detailing how vulnerable individuals, environmental factors, and situational elements are being considered. Reference Training Bulletin 3, page 3. Bullet point 4, documentation showing how prohibited uses are being taken into account. Reference Training Bulletin 3, page 4.1. Bullet point 5, copies of up-to-date armored vehicle operator qualifications and training certifications. Reference Training Bulletin 3, page 4. Bullet point 6, screenshots of posts made to social media regarding the announcement of Bearcat deployments, reference Training Bulletin 3, page 6, bullet point 7, documentation of videos being generated in accordance with policy, reference Training Bulletin 3, page 5, and bullet point 8, copies of the 2024 calendar year after action reports, reference Training Bulletin 3, page 5. On February the 27th, 2024, the City Council passed an ordinance requiring that OPD purchase guns from dealers who have no outstanding ATF violations. Firearms crimes in Oakland decreased by more than 30% last year, according to OPD data, and are down even further so far in 2025. Yet OPD proposes to increase its arsenal of assault rifles by nearly half by purchasing 75 new rifles at a cost of $5,695 each, totaling $427,125, in addition to the personnel costs for training officers with the new rifles. This request occurs as the city is grappling with a significant fiscal crisis. The commission recognizes the need to replace outdated and non-functioning equipment. However, its request does not state that any rifles will be decommissioned, nor present any cogent rationale for increasing its inventory of assault rifles, especially at a time of reduced gun violence and scarce dollars in Oakland. The use of militarized equipment, tactics, and practices is a use of force and constitutional policing excessive force issue, which places it within the Police Commission's purview. Our position is that most of the militarized equipment and paramilitary tactics and practices should be eliminated from use by the Oakland Police Department as soon as practicable, according to the guidelines spelled out in state legislation and municipal regulations. There is no empirical evidence to suggest that this equipment makes our city safer. On the contrary, studies indicate that using militarized equipment in a police department is no more successful in reducing crime than for departments that don't. Within this report, there are examples of equipment, tactics, and practices that should be prioritized for abolishment or further analysis. We also recommend that discussion of the complete list of equipment listed in OPD's militarized equipment report inventory should be ongoing and not only conducted on an annual basis. The report lists a plethora of military weapons, canisters, smoke grenades, armed vehicles, and some drones and robots. Much of this equipment shows very little use. Questions were raised about the fact that the predominance of use took place without warrant, and the ad hoc was informed that most of the use of militarized equipment did take place in the Black and brown communities of East Oakland. With militarized equipment primarily being used in Black and brown communities, a significant racial disparity has been created as a result. Its presences are known to trigger people's trauma in neighborhoods that have a higher rate of children and adults with complex post-traumatic stress syndrome, in which over-policing and tough-on-crime paramilitary tactics and practices play a role. Department charts for the Bearcat primarily reflect its use in these communities as well. Despite past agreements and legislation, the department is still in possession of the Bearcat and is contemplating purchasing 2 new ones. Therefore, the ad hoc recommends the following considerations to the Council Public Safety Committee. A, that as previously agreed, OPD divest itself of the Bearcat and not replace it with another Bearcat. B, the City Council should determine that OPD's request to increase its inventory of patrol rifles, assault rifles, does not meet state law AB 481 criteria for military equipment as necessary and cost effective, especially at a time of fiscal tightening, and decline to approve this increase of assault rifles. C, that the Commission and the Council Public Safety Committee for each piece of equipment should consider whether or not, 1, the military equipment is necessary because there is no reasonable alternative that can achieve the same objectives of officer and civilian safety. 2, the proposed military equipment use policy will safeguard the public's welfare, safety, civil rights, and civil liberties. 3, if purchasing the equipment is reasonably cost-effective compared to available alternatives that can achieve the same objectives of officer and civilian safety. 4, prior military equipment use complied with the military equipment use policy that was in effect at the time, or if prior uses did not comply with the accompanying military equipment use policy, corrective action has been taken to remedy non-conforming uses and ensure future compliance. D, we also recommend that discussion of the complete list of equipment listed in OPD's militarized equipment report inventory should be ongoing and not only conducted on an annual basis. E, because of the entwining jurisdictions and concerns of the City Council Public Safety Committee and the Police Commission, that the chair of the Public Safety Committee and the chair of the commission meet on a regular basis. And F, with the annual military equipment report 2024, the ad hoc and the commission approves all items: unmanned aircraft systems, remote controlled ground systems and pole cameras, armored suburban, mobile command vehicle, community resource vehicle, hostage negotiation vehicle, explosive breaching equipment, impact munitions and light sound and incendiary devices and crowd control equipment and associated munitions, accepting that the Bearcat use and replacement is not approved and the increase in assault rifles above direct replacement numbers is not approved.
Commissioner Riles?
Yes, ma'am.
The document that you were reading, it's not the document at the very end that
No, I've made some additional
got it.
change.
Okay, I'm like, wait, where's that part? Okay, so I
Right.
put the link. I'm sure everybody else was too. I put the link in the chat of the one that I have. So disregard that, everyone. I will get the version from Commissioner Riles, and then I'll just send that to everyone via email.
Yes, I want to do that after this. So is there any part of this that folks want reread or relooked at? And then we'd open to what comments that the department might have or that the commissioners might have.
Mr. Geist has his hand up.
Go ahead, Mr. Geis.
Just a quick question, Mr. Riles. How long has this document been in the works, and who prepared it? Was it you, or did other people help prepare this?
I got some help from Commissioner Farmer and from John Lindsay Poland, but it's been in preparation, off and on for almost well, an original version of this document has already gone through the commission and was sent back to the ad hoc because they thought it was not specific enough. So we added more specificity to this amended version.
Yeah, I'd just like to see the full document. I think there's a lot of good points brought out, but I think there's some things that I'd like to maybe add some comments to, but I'd like some time to look at it.
Surely. Yeah, that's why I think that we can come back on September the 2nd, beyond this meeting tonight, for the final version to go before the commission. But I think that we need to get something to the chief too. So this is the bulk, I think, of what we would be sending to the chief for his comments and response.
Commissioner Dawit's got his hand up, then Mr. John Lindsay Poland.
Now, go ahead, Commissioner.
Yeah, this is the first time I've seen this document, as other people have talked about. I don't support this version of the document, um, especially when it comes to the Bearcat. I know that we have been in conversations with other manufacturers, and we have yet to find something that meets OPD's regulations or requirements. So to just say that we're not going to get another Bearcat, we're not going to approve their purchase, we're at the very least trying to find something that we can find as a compromise. I just don't really understand that. I
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Commissioner DeWitt. Um, Commissioner Farmer had a contact with another vendor. He and I had some discussion with that vendor. I won't disclose the name of that vendor because I'm not here to lobby for any particular vendor. That's not my role here. But that vendor has indicated that they can provide a different vehicle that would meet the requirements as have been stated by the department in terms of the opening in the top and the rotating um, entry and exit for people coming into the vehicle. So there has been, we've discovered other vendors who seem to, from what we can tell, indicate that possibility. I also, from our prior discussion, understand that there's a two-step process in this replacement. First is the finding of the funds, since the replacement costs are not going to be taken out of the general fund as the rifle funds are going to be taken out of the general fund. So that's going to come to us, and that's going to have to come to us after there's been some, it has to come to us with some searching of what those possibilities are. Come to the commission and then to the Public Safety Committee of the council. So there is a process to make sure that we have both department safety and public safety in a vehicle that will provide the protection and the needs of the department.
Yeah, and if I could just quickly add something. You want to say something first, Commissioner
Go ahead.
Dawit?
No,
Go ahead,
no,
Omar.
go ahead.
I'll speak after.
Yeah, Commissioner Dawit was on that call with us, Commissioner Rao.
Oh,
So
yes, that's right.
uh, have a chance to speak to that vendor. And they did say that they could provide up to NIJ4 level ballistic protection, just like the Bearcat does. And basically all the additional things that they said that they needed for in an armored vehicle, such as the ceiling turret that rotates, that they could do that. So I consider this to be a compromise to only receiving information and request for a Bearcat. And the gist of this paper has been put out publicly at a commission meeting at least a month ago. And I read out information from the portion that I contributed that ultimately was contributed to this paper at that meeting. That paper was emailed to you, Commissioner Dawit. You have a chance to review it as well. The whole commission has had a chance to review it. So this has changed a little bit since then, but not much. So I hope everyone now has an opportunity to review it privately, but it has been out publicly at commission meetings and privately among the commissioners on this ad hoc for quite some time. Mr. Lynn, okay, Commissioner, did you want to say something, Commissioner Dawit?
Yes. So I do remember the version that came from the police commission. That's why I said when I previously spoke, I did not see this version until we got on the call. And then I think that I feel like we need to remind ourselves that um, in Section 604A of Measure S1 is our responsibility to bring OPD to national standards and constitutional policing. And as we previously spoke about armored vehicles, there's a lot of partner agencies all around the city of Oakland who have these vehicles, not just regionally, around the state and around the nation. So I'm not fixated on just getting a Bearcat specifically, but we need to find a vehicle that makes sense and meets the requirements for OPD. And from the call that we met with that vendor, that was not achieved. So that did not meet OPD standards. And we kind of talked about it at length while I was on the call, especially when it came to, ballistic protection up to 50 caliber, which I know you don't necessarily agree with, but that was part of OPD's requirements. But I'll just leave it there and I'll give um, John Lindsay Poland a chance to speak as well.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going to respond really quick, John. But no, the vendor did say that he could provide up to NIJ4, which is up to 50 caliber ballistic protection. So we can revisit that information, but he did say that he could provide that. And like you said, I agree that that part of Section 604 of the code says to bring OPD up to constitutional policing standards. And as Commissioner Rouse pointed out in the paper, how the Bearcat had been historically, in that one incident, used as a shooting platform where we rolled back on those NSA use of force tasks, took them out of compliance with the constitutional policing for use of force. So that is the point. One of the points in not in saying not to purchase another Bearcat is to help avoid those situations while still being able to have the level of ballistic protection that they've requested. Okay, Mr. John Lynch Poland.
Okay.
Thank you. So a couple of technical things. I hadn't seen this document until tonight, or this version until you just read it out either. I gave some input, but I had not seen it. So a couple of technical things. One is that it refers to Training Bulletin 3. It's actually the Armored Vehicle Training Bulletin is Training Bulletin 3 PO4. Because otherwise people won't
PO4?
know what
Yeah, it does say, right,
PO
PDAS. Yeah. I just thought it was
3.
easier to reference it as TD3 because that's how it commonly is referred to.
Okay, there's a bunch of training bulletin threes. Um,
Okay.
Also, there's a reference to a shared folder. I don't think that's especially relevant because it's not accessible to the public. It's not accessible to the members of the Public Safety Committee of the Oakland City Council. Um, there's that. Also, in the section that talks about the criteria that should be used by the City Council, those are in the state law. So it's not just the ad hoc or the police commission saying that those are the commission, that those are the criteria that should be considered. That is exactly the language in the state law about what the city council must consider in its consideration of approving an annual report or additional equipment or anything like that. And then I also just want to say about the armored vehicle that, the state law requires that the department um, uh, have basically before it seeks funding, it must make a request. So in essence, the conversation that's happening here shows that there's not an agreed upon plan, right? If the commission says, "Oh, we approve this," that essentially is saying, "Okay, the plan to acquire two additional Bearcats is approved by the commission." And I don't think actually that's even what Commissioner DeWitt is saying, right? It's like you want to have more discussion. And so the recommendation to say this is not approved is like you need to have a plan before you even seek funding, and then that needs to get approval. So it seems to me that there isn't really agreement yet on not only what the vehicle should be, but then sets in motion the request for funding, which has to come before the commission as well.
That's right.
Yeah. And just to clarify, there's only one armored vehicle TV3, but I gather your point. Thank you. Captain.
Go ahead.
Is that for me?
No, that's it's I'm sorry, I didn't get your name, ma'am.
Kima, Joseph.
Joseph, yes. Go ahead.
You're on mute, Kima.
Kima, yes. Okay, please go ahead.
You're on mute, Kima.
You raised your hand. Do you want to say something?
You're on mute. You're muted, Miss Joseph.
I think she's trying to. I think she knows she's trying to figure
Okay,
out.
I'm sorry.
There she
I'm
is.
operating
Mhm.
from my iPhone, so it's just doing weird things. It wasn't letting me get to the mute menu to unmute my. But so what I wanted to refer to was the report. There are hyperlinks in the report, but all of the folder is really irrelevant at this point, like Mr. Poland was saying, because everything is now on the website.
Right.
All of the hyperlinks are there for all of the training bulletins, as well as the policies and procedures, the reports, the redacted spreadsheets, all that is there for everybody to view. That's where the public can see it.
Beautiful. Thank you, ma'am.
Captain Perez.
Yes, thank you. I just want to say a couple of things, but Kima already got ahead of it. I was going to ask if it was okay for her to report or provide an update from the deliverables that were made from the report, because I know she did a lot more updates when it came to posting the report online and finalizing that report with the hyperlinks. Another thing I wanted to say is obviously we have not seen this letter as the agency as OPD. Well, once we get that letter, your final version, we'll take it. All I ask is that obviously we get some time before we give it to the chief, because we want obviously we want to have a rebuttal on this based on this letter, and then obviously I'm going to present it just like it is to the chief. But I want to meet with my team and have an answer, because I know the chief is going to have a lot of questions on this document. But you can send me the PDF form on it. That way I can give him to it directly. But all I ask is a couple of days so I can present it to him too.
So, Captain Perez, we're talking about it bringing it back to this ad hoc committee on September the 2nd, in order to give time for the chief to make comments. Would that also give you the time that you need to meet with your group and to present it to him and bring that to us?
Absolutely, yeah. Just once you, Commissioner Ryle, once you tell me or your team tell me this is our final version for the chief, then yeah, if we get some time in between, so we can, us OPD meaning our team, can go over it, and then we'll write an addendum to it and provide you the version of the ad hoc team to the chief and our addendum to it. That way, the chief does, because I know if I give this document to the chief, he's gonna have a lot of questions. We're discussing the Bearcat like right now, right? But as mentioned before, we're not offering a solution. I know you guys spoke to a vendor. That's another thing that I would want to know who the vendor is, because we can talk to him. Because we have to look at this from the lens of law enforcement, right? Uh, we are the SMEs on this when it comes to armored vehicles and stuff. Not that it cannot be researched or people can get their own information, but I would want to talk to this vendors and see who it is, who there are, who this company is, how they're vetted. There's a lot of questions that come up. If you guys don't mind sharing that, either on the chat or an email, that we'll really appreciate that part.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I respond to that, Commissioner Rouse?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Commissioner
Yeah, no,
Farley.
thank you for saying that, Captain Perez. And in the past, I've shared who this vendor is because I spoke to them also back in 2021. It's the same vendor that OPD purchased their armored Suburban from.
That's
Um,
right.
so I can get you that information. But you all have done business with them before. They've been fully vetted by OPD in the city already. But
Perfect. Thank you.
yep.
So I'll get you a final version by tomorrow. And then we have essentially 2 weeks, and hopefully you'll have the time that you need.
Sounds good. I think that's more than enough time for our team to uh, author that addendum and then give both copies to the chief.
Okay.
Could I just ask Captain Paris, when you said we're not offering a solution, I'm not sure I understand what you mean.
I think I was making reference to the Bearcat because I sent to some of the commissioners an option that we were looking at, and that is the Bearcat SUV. It's similar to the Bearcat, but it's the looks of it, it's less militaristic for lack of better words. The armor grade is going to be the same. It does have the back hatch. It does have the top, like the turret hatch, obviously for emergency. In case if we have an emergency, we have to exit through that side. It fits the same amount of people. It sits on a Ford chassis, and it's called it's a Lenco. It's a Bearcat SUV, and I forgot how many people I sent it to. I also send the link to this Bearcat SUV and the cost. The cost is about $500,000 for each. And then it goes into specifics as to what is equipped with and the options that it have, right? Unlike the Bearcat, this is not going to have like that the mechanical arm that is used for ramming, meaning if I need to knock the door down or I need to introduce gas, it's not going to have that. So that's going to have to be that's one of the compromises that we're willing to do to obviously make sure that we can come to an agreement with this commission. And it's one of those, right? That's one of the big differences that the Lenco Bearcat has as opposed to the Lenco SUV Bearcat.
I appreciate that, sir. And you also, I think, had mentioned at a prior meeting of the ad hoc that you would be going out to seek funds in order to make this replacement. So you'll be bringing your plan once you've formed it to the commission prior to purchase of anything.
So when it comes to obtaining armor vehicles, we have always used UASI, and I believe Mrs. Joseph brought up the fact that because we're considered a sanctuary city, those federal funds are probably not going to be available for us when it comes to acquiring the Bearcat. Now, when it comes to acquiring the rifles, the patrol rifles, we are considering a source of money that is available, and that's going to be through the asset forfeiture money. Now, these monies are reserved for specifically that. They're for law enforcement, and they have to be used for law enforcement purposes, meaning training and equipment. This does not come out of the general fund. This is money both state and federal that we get for being part of task forces, meaning either we're working with our federal partners or we're working with state partners where on these task forces where whenever they have asset forfeitures that includes property and money, we get a percentage from that. And that money has to be used per California law, has to be used uh, for equipment. Now, we already went to council to seek some of this money, which it got approved. There is some residual money there. I don't know if it's going to be enough to purchase those rifles, but that's one of the options we're exploring. I know that the city, obviously, we all know that the city is in a financial crisis. We're all trying to do cuts, and so that's why I'm exploring that. The cost of the rifles is going to be way less too, though. We updated the quotes and we went back to the bare minimum that we can function with, and I think for 70 rifles is about either 320 or 280,000. And that's fully equipped with the rifle, with those 70 rifles that we're trying to replace. What's going to happen on that too, as I mentioned before, there is this program that we have where they buy these rifles back from us. We're not going to get dollar for dollar, obviously. It's going to be fractions, but it's still, I think, doing the math, it's between 15 and $20,000 that will get credit towards the purchase of this. That will also reduce the cost. I know that this ad hoc team is opposed to it because of what your letter says, and that's totally fine. But I mean, that's some of the options that we're seeking. I mean, this is something that, as the other commissioner mentioned earlier, this is these are like state standards. Like any large or mid-sized law enforcement agency has a PRO program. I mean, it's a piece of equipment that it's needed. How we deploy it and how many, it's based on the needs of each city. As we spoke before during this meeting, not in this meeting, but the meeting that we had in the town hall, is we're trying to expand it because we don't have enough coverage. Meaning, there's days and shifts where PROs are not available, and that's also safety for us. That's something that we have learned, that there's this gap, and that we're trying to fill that void with this program. Again, we have never had any misuse, any incidents, anything that can bring this dispute to the department when it comes to the PRO program. So yeah, we're gonna ask for it, and if it's given, it's given. If not, I mean, it's gonna decision is gonna be at the end of the day, the decision will be up to you, and the recommendation you make to city council get that approved. But we are gonna seek it.
Okay. Hey, can I ask a quick question, Commissioner Wells?
Yes, go ahead.
If you could show us the coverage where you say the gap is, and what you're trying to cover with the increase, that would be a helpful way to illustrate it, I think. And you also mentioned that someone buys the old guns back. Uh, who buys the old guns back, and where do the old guns go? Do you know?
I know who buys them. I don't know if you guys are familiar with LC Action. That's a company out of San Jose. It's a uniform store that which also has FFL licensing, and they have a buyback program just like they do for Glocks. They have purchased our Glocks before for half the cost. I don't know what they do with them. I don't know if they sell them to other places or they sell them to people, to the civilian portion of this. I'm not sure. Um, when it comes to the coverage, well, I have what I'm gonna have to do is gonna take me a little bit of time. This is how we know when we're short on coverage. So we have 35 beats citywide.
Mhm.
Those 35 beats have to have coverage in the morning, in the afternoon, and nighttime, and then towards the morning, right? So let's say we have 6 areas. Each area has squads. So when we look at these squads, if we see a vacancy, meaning there's no PRO here, even with all the PROs that we have deployed, that for us, those we identify those as vacancies. Another thing, just to remind this ad hoc meeting when we covered this, is that the the rifle is attached to the operator, meaning to that police officer. We're not like CHP. We can't go to the armory and check out a rifle and then tomorrow check out another rifle. That does not work. And I know some of you in this ad hoc team have experience with firearms. So that's like a big no-no for us.
Okay, so you're
Uh,
talking about the availability of a rifle per patrol or per beat, and
yes,
within like the vehicle itself, correct?
yes, I'm talking about a officer who's qualified to be a patrol rifleman. So there's squads that don't have them at all, and that leans towards the night shifts, and that's when we see that there is a bigger need. And for us to bridge that gap, we have to increase the number of patrol riflemen,
Do you
right?
have enough people qualified as patrol riflemen right now to even handle the weapons that you want to purchase?
Yes, we have over 50 of them right now in our rosters. And like I mentioned before, it's a 2 week school and they train 6 times a year, right? Again, this is a perishable skill. This is something obviously you're dealing with life and death on and this with this type of operation. So we made sure that these officers are well prepared. And like Lieutenant Gonzalez mentioned before, we take a lot of pride in this because it's a successful program. I think it resolves a lot of the critical incidents without force. I think the last time we had an I was involved shooting with the rifle was last year. That I can't really get into that, but that because obviously that case is under review. Um, but I mean, yeah, I mean there is a need for this, and it's not because we're trying to get more or trying to create any more hardship to the city. It's a piece of equipment that we see there's a need for it, and we as an agency and the guys in this meeting, we're trying to find solutions for it. And again, as I mentioned before, one of those solutions is use that asset forfeiture money. But again, it has to get approved by by council.
Yeah, and I guess just the last thing, uh, I guess the issue or one of the issues is that while you may have a gap in coverage, how you're looking at it technically through your map or whatnot. With gun violence on the decline for the past 2 years, one of the questions would be, as to why you would need to still fully pursue that, or something to that effect. And then just really quickly, the last thing I wanted to say is that the reason why um, I went out and sought out that armored vehicle the armored vehicle manufacturers. A, because I'd spoken to him before, and B, because you had stated to us not just at the community meeting but several times before that we were going to have an additional meeting to discuss alternative vehicles such as the ones that the police department had presented to the police commission back in September of 2021. That hadn't occurred, and you all were still just pushing for these two Bearcats. So with that, unless you have a response to that, I'd like to go to Mr. Geis, who's had his hand up for a while.
No, you brought up a good point, and that's why I sent the that link to what we want to discuss this in this type of setting, or we can have a separate meeting just to discuss the Bearcat further. However you guys want to do it. Like I said, we're open to any options, but again, we'll I mean, there's so much that we can compromise before it starts becoming unsafe for us to use an equipment where we don't see deemed that it fits our needs.
Okay. Mr. Geist?
Yeah, and speaking of Mr. Perez, I think there's some good questions here. I think the main question that was, well, earlier in the day, when Mr. Riles read the document, that it's unclear what will happen. Is this a gun increase for existing? Will the existing guns stay in inventory or will they go? It sounds like if they're going to go, I think $20,000 is not worth putting on the open market. I think those guns should be taken out of service unless they maybe go to a different police department. I don't think it's worth going to the public. Um, I think it's for the money that we're talking about, we should really think about not allowing to go on the open market. And I I just want some more time to read this letter. And I'm just kind of taken aback by certain statements within the letter. And I think in talking to the police department, they need to be a little more affirmative on what's going to happen to these guns. We're not going to go from 50 to 120. It sounds like we're going from 50 to whatever it's going to be. But I feel like this deadline's coming up, and we've been meeting for a few months, and I'd like some more time to go over this and whatever documents I could look at. Everyone here is very knowledgeable, and I appreciate everyone's input, but I'd like some more time. Thank you.
I appreciate that, Mr. Geis, very much. And from where I see things going, the discussion around the Bearcat will end up being a separate discussion. So once this moves forward, any action in order to replace the Bearcat or to find another vehicle is going to have to come separately back to the commission and to the city council. That's my understanding. So there will be a separate discussion. I think that one of the issues around the guns, as has been made clear from the discussion here, is where do they end up? And I'm with you in that I don't think that they ought to go back to anybody, to definitely not to private citizens.
Could
Yeah.
I ask you a question?
Go ahead, John.
So the letter says that the city has a policy of not purchasing firearms from FFLs, from licensed dealers that have violated firearms laws. And my understanding is that I can't remember whether it's LC Action or Adamson Police products has a history of violating firearms laws, has been cited by the ATF. And so I heard that you would return the used rifles to LC Action. What I didn't hear is who the rifles would be purchased from, who's the vendor, not the make, but the vendor, and whether that vendor has been vetted in accordance with that ordinance about what vendors to purchase firearms from.
So if we were to purchase the firearms, one of the dealers to purchase the firearms from is LC Action. They're out of San Jose, as I mentioned before. Some of the platforms that we're considering to use to purchase is going to be Daniel Defense, Colt, and then the last one is Geizo. They're three reputable companies. The last time we purchased a rifle was about 10 to 12 years ago, which is the Colts that the PROs have right now, which that's why we're trying to seek replacement here pretty soon. And those are the companies that we're looking to do business with if this gets approved. And I just want to make something clear. When we do business with LC Action, the buyback program that they have is they'll purchase the guns from the department. What they do with those firearms, that's at that point that becomes, it's out of our control. I don't know if they sell it back to the manufacturers, they get refurbished. That I don't know. I'm just giving you my like what I think they may do with them. They may refurbish and put them back to sell. I mean, if they're a qualified FFL, they have the right to sell them to whoever they want. That we don't really control. I understand your concern though, right? So many guns to go into the civilian part of this, but that's something that we don't control, and I'm being 100% transparent with you guys when it comes to that.
Thank you, sir. And Ms. Joseph, I appreciate your making that contact. I don't know if there's any other comment that you would have in terms of your tracking and getting the reports up.
No, not really. Now that I know what to do, I can make sure that, everything is updated when it's as needed, to the website.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner DeWitt has his hand up.
Go ahead, sir.
I do have one last statement. I guess I'm a little confused by this, the notion that's being put forward that one, the city's in dire financial, a dire financial position. Yet, you know, the Oakland Police Department can get some money from for the firearms that they sell back, but we don't want these firearms to go to citizens. I guess I'm a little confused there, because here in the state of California, we have a pretty robust process to acquiring a firearm. People have to go through background checks, a 10-day waiting period, and people want to exercise the Second Amendment rights. That's totally up to them. But if we can get the money that we desperately need, I don't see what's I don't see what's wrong with that. And again, I want to bring us back to, you know, constitutional policing and national practices. Now, if this is a national practice, then I'm in support of it. If this is something that's particular to what is doing, or just a couple of law enforcement agencies around the nation are doing, then maybe it's something that we should look into. But if this is a national practice, I don't see the issue in selling these firearms back. They ain't going to law-abiding citizens who pass background checks.
Yeah, it's an Oakland City ordinance issue. There's an Oakland City ordinance around this, and so that's what we're making sure that we stay in accordance with.
You talking
Uh,
about the ordinance that doesn't go to
There's two different things. One is about selling back weapons. The ordinance does actually not address selling back weapons. The ordinance addresses who you buy from and whether you buy from dealers that have violated the law and been cited by ATF. That's a
yeah, I got
separate issue.
yeah,
got that part. Yeah. So
but
if that's the case, then we can't do business with them. But there was another issue that was brought up, was that we don't want these firearms to be sold to an organization or to a company who will then resell them to citizens.
yeah, and what I was going to say is that thank you for repeating that, Commissioner Dowett. Is that this is also a gun violence issue, so which is a public safety issue, and it also has to do with, I mean, that's the primary issue, but City of Oakland also has the, I forget the name of the program, but I'm not sure if they call it the like the gun where people turn in their guns and then they turn the guns into like gardening tools and things like that as a way to keep guns off the street. That's a best practice that the city of Oakland has already adopted, and they collaborate with the Oakland Police Department to do this program. So that's something that's already in place. That's something that I also think could be considered.
Okay. I hear what you're saying. Again, I just don't. I want to make sure that we are not taking the position that we are against law-abiding citizens getting firearms. Because probably another issue that will come in front of the commission at some point in time is that, you know, OPD will have to start issuing CCW permits directly from OPD, as we're currently doing that through the Alameda County Sheriff's Office. So this position that we don't want citizens to get firearms will have to change very soon when the Alameda County Sheriff's Office puts that onus on the local municipalities, as they have already done to all of our surrounding agencies. We just don't have the capacity to do it right now. So we could take this conversation on at another time, but I just want to make sure that we're not taking the position that we are against law-abiding citizens getting firearms.
I mean, the
I don't
rifle
know.
question would not be legal for purchase in California. State law, these rifles are prohibited for private citizens to purchase in the state of California. So this is not going to, you're wanting to make firearms available to citizens is not applicable here because these are not legal to purchase for citizens in California.
So this issue, I think, is one that we should definitely track, but it is not in this statement at the moment.
Okay.
Uh, any other items? I think we've exhausted our time, and I really think folks have been gotten deep into it and have done a good job by all of us in terms of the discussion and what's being presented. And as previously indicated, we'll get a final draft to you all at least by tomorrow, and then we can move forward to have a final draft by September the 2nd.
Commissioner Riles, Tuan Go has a question, and then I also, before he goes, I want to acknowledge that there were three people in the general public. That was Eliza LJ, who's no longer there, and then Coleman, and then Nancy Swanson. Those are the names in the chat. No one asked a question,
Okay,
but I wanted to acknowledge that they did participate.
I appreciate that. So we'll ask them whether they want to make a comment after Tuan Go.
Mhm.
Tuan Go, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I would just wanted to echo the the $20,000. We keep talking about, not having enough funding for essential services. Why leave $20,000 on the table? It doesn't make any sense. So I'm in favor of Oakland getting that $20,000 that we need. We need to feed our seniors, and we couldn't get Meals on Wheels funded. It doesn't make sense. So I'm in favor of getting every penny for Oakland. Thanks.
Appreciate your comments, sir. Does anyone in the public wish to make a statement? If you could indicate, raise your hands.
No one's raised their hand.
All right. Thank you all very much. And let's continue this great work. I appreciate all of you very much. We will see you all on the 2nd of September, and hopefully we'll hear from the chief and Captain Perez's folks in terms of a response to the final draft before we get to the final draft. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good
Good
night.
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 Good night.